Okay, let's start before you will freeze to death. My name is Nelly Porter, and again, let me move mic so you will not have echo. So I'm part of OS security group. The areas that I own in Microsoft and big Windows organization is user authentication, device authentication, PKI, public key infrastructure, and crypto, the most exciting areas, as you can imagine. And actually, I love them. So this talk will not be about crypto, so please don't worry, don't leave right now. Today, what I want to cover is actually two areas. I know that it was a lot of questions during the whole week about Windows Hello and Microsoft Passport. Microsoft Passport and Windows Hello, and how they related to each other. So some people that actually had chance and were brave enough to attend my previous session understood, I think, what Microsoft Passport is. How many of you were attending previous session? Maybe a few. So I'm sorry for those of you, we will have a little repetition here to bring everybody on the same side. So I will explain Microsoft Passport a bit, and we'll move to Windows Hello biometrics and how they connected to each other. So I hope when you will leave, those questions will disappear and you will understand this connection. Okay? So let's start. First of all, why all of that started. For you who've been with Mark on previous session, you heard about virtual smart cards, how passwords are really bad. It's actually virtual smart cards and smart cards coming from the same team. So virtual smart card was our first attempt to make the world a better place and actually move from passwords to something much more secure. We learned a lot from working on this great technology. It was deployed. We received a lot of feedback. And now we're coming with what we called Microsoft Passport. Microsoft Passport, for some of you who are familiar with virtual smart card, it's virtual smart card plus, plus, plus. So Microsoft Passport is the solution that we want to address three problems with passwords. Passwords have multiple problems. It's not only three, but those three we are focusing on. As everybody understood, it's difficult to remember passwords. So when users trying to remember complex passwords, by the way, I actually read a lot about our memory and brains. Our brains are capable, and it's not a joke, to remember 5 plus minus 2 numbers. It's really why your phone numbers, it's 7 digits, not 10, not 12, not 25. So you will be able to remember them. However, passwords, not your mobile numbers, is much longer, so it's very difficult to remember. And when poor human being is trying to remember the things with upper and lower case, and with numbers and all other special, very special characters must be there. After they remember, they will use everywhere. And as a result of that, the less protected sites can be breached, and those millions and millions of passwords can be stolen and replayed against your organizations. So the biggest problems that we've seen so far, it's server breach. So Microsoft Passport is trying to address that. And again, why it's a problem? Because passwords are symmetric secrets. What I know, server knows. As a result of that, by breaching the server, we're getting access to user secrets. The second problem that we are trying to address is what we call replayability. The idea here is very simple. Because password is software secrets, it means any user mode, even malware, can lift them from the box and replay them somewhere else. As a result of that, when passwords replayed, accounts compromised. It's a big deal. And the last point is a phish. Users being phished all over the place. They're sharing their credentials willingly. They're sharing it everywhere, so it's a huge problem. Microsoft Passport is trying to solve those three problems. Again, breach, replay, and phish. So we introduced Microsoft Passport because we don't want to augment passwords. We want to replace them with something that's much more stronger. And the idea is that we will replace them with public-private key pair that we generate on TPMs. And we will enable access to those keys. We will not be able to take those keys from TPMs, but we will give access to those keys using user gestures. User gestures are biometrics, our Windows Hello, or PIN. So when a user typing their PIN or looking into the camera and smile, we would be able to give ourselves access to the keys, and we'll take the private key of this user and authenticate this user against server. Microsoft Passport together with Windows Hello. We're planning for Microsoft Passport to enable two flavors. One of them, we provision those keys and we'll use Windows Hello or PIN on your local device, your desktops, your laptops, on any device that will support biometrics or PINs. However, mobile devices will have additional functionalities that we will support. You can use your phone to authenticate against other devices. It's what we call Passport to Go. And Passport to Go allow us to collect user gesture, including Windows Hello, on the local devices. Why it's so important for us? Because of privacy. Privacy with biometrics is a big deal, and we will talk about that a lot today. And the goal for us to introduce Microsoft Passport because it's so secure, but also incredibly convenient. Because security without convenience, again, is not going to survive. We've trusted, we tried it, we've done so much. Security without convenience is dead in the water. So we want to make Windows Hello and even PIN much more convenient for the users compared to everybody else. Okay, moving on. For IT, we introduced Microsoft Passport, and I'm going very quickly. Sorry, if again, any questions, please ask me anytime. Raise your hand. You don't need to wait until end because you will forget your questions. So if, again, UIT, so for IT admins, the managing of the system is going to be trivial because they know how to manage or PKI or keys. It's what we're offering. For users, it's going to be incredibly convenient because when they unlock the device will smile at them and allow them to get access to the device. They absolutely will be unaware of those complexity of cryptographic keys that we will use underneath to authenticate them. Any credentials, when it's created, have to be validated. The user needs to be validated. And we have with Active Directory Federation Services 2016, multiple methods how we will validate users, being OTP, OTC, phone factor. It can be extended to smart cards, anything that you use in your organization. And by the end of the day, we're taking public key out of public-private key pairs that we generated for this user and send it to the server, and server will put this public key on file. Any authentication claim that will come to the server, signed by private key, promise it's the most complicated topic that I will touch today, signed by the private key of the user, will be validated on the server, and if signature matched, the user will be authenticated. So no, I was lying, more complex topics coming, sorry. Keys will be generated on TPMs. Trusted platform modules. So TPMs is beautiful things for us, and now it's becoming very common. TPMs, again, there are a lot of misconception about TPMs. So TPMs is crypto processor. It's not storage place. It's not, again, whatever HSM. It's dedicated crypto processors that allow us to do three things. First, generate those keys in isolation of TPM. It means user mode or system mode malware would not be able to get access to those keys. As the second thing, TPMs allow us to perform cryptographic operations in isolated environments, so malware would not be able to intervene. And the third is anti-brute force protection that TPM provides for us. As soon as we will put PIN as a gesture or biometrics as a gesture, if user will type the PIN or use the camera too many times and we will see that it's not the right user, we will lock TPM and we will lock the device. As a result of that, we will protect the device against physical attack. As I said, complexity is coming, sorry. So every TPM is interesting, but I don't know if you actually aware, ability to generate keys on TPM was well known in the past as well. But client is a very interesting animal. It's not trustworthy. Because we can have malware on the box, we can tell you as a server saying, yep, you ask us to generate the key, perfect, we've done it. Trust us, we've done it. There is no way, there is no proof to validate that it's actually happened. So in Windows 10 with Microsoft Passport, we're coming with technology that allow us to attest those cryptographic keys and ensure that it's cryptographically proven that those keys are actually generated on TPM. There is no bullshit anymore. If client said that it's actually generated on TPM, it's TPM keys. We take this attestation statement and pass it to the server. So server, when they see the public key, attestation statement signed by private key associated with this user, they will be able to decide what trust relationships they can establish for this user and what access permissions and access policies they can give to this user. If attestation is present, it's hardware-bound keys. So they cannot be replayed, they cannot be breached, and they cannot be phished. And it's very, very important, and it means that maybe access tokens that server will generate for these clients is going to be longer. If attestation statement is missing, then server knows. Doesn't matter what the greatest intention of client is. Server knows that it's not trustworthy, and as a result, they treat it as software keys and applying different policy. And actually, Active Directory and Azure Active Directory and Microsoft Account, our consumer identity provider, is taken into consideration, this particular capability, and applying this to different access policy. Okay, from user perspective, single unlock gesture and V-in. And its single unlock gesture allow us to unlock the keys for Microsoft account if we have Microsoft account on the box, or Active Directory or Azure Active Directory, or for work account. For all of these different capabilities, we generate those Microsoft Passport and attach and close it with PIN or biometrics. When I'm talking about close it, it's very interesting and very TPM-like capability. The PIN, think about this as a key. And this key is the thing that we're wrapping another key to wrap the container. So it's triple encryption going on for us. And PIN is the entropy that we decrypting access key to TPM keys. The same with biometrics. Because biometrics do not provide repeatable entropy, so we have a mechanism to generate what we call biokey and do exactly the same as we do with PIN. Biometrics or PINs for us is a protector on the container that has user keys. And we will do browser support as well. And to do browser support, we want to reach to W3C and FIDO that we joined in December 2014, and actually have the standard JavaScript-based APIs enabled in all famous browsers that allow us to access to those keys and provide the same beautiful interfaces with Windows Hello and PIN. Okay, let's go very quickly through the flow. We have a user, surprise, surprise, and we have identity provider, and identity provider is an entity that authenticating user. Authenticating means that I'm asking some credentials. Show me something that I will know that it's you. It's our identity providers. By Windows 10 ship, and when 2016 servers will be available, all identity providers that I have here would be supporting Microsoft Passport with Windows Hello. So user proving his identity. And after proving his identity, the key is generated or certificate generated with his user, and the public key is shared with identity provider. Public key and attestation statement. Based on that, every single time, user need to be authenticated with this identity provider. What is happening on every protocol that you know, being SAML, being OAuth, being Kerberos, server generating the challenge. And this challenge needs to be signed with private key of the user to ensure that user is still in possession of this key. And it's how authentication is happening. The signed challenge is sent back to the server validated, everything is cool, and now it's issuing authentication token. One additional point that everybody asked me before, you didn't, but I will tell you anyway. The authentication token here is not pass the hash, pass the token attack available. And the reason why, because we learn from our mistakes with NTLM, and we don't want to chase after NTLM hash protections. So what we're doing here, we have the special protocols that we submitted between Google and Microsoft to IETF, and it's the protocols that allow us to ensure that every single token issued as a result of authentication process is also tied to TPM, protected by TPM or device. And after that, this authentication token, or TGT, if it's Kerberos, is issuing access tokens. So it's more or less what I want to explain to you about Microsoft Passport. So to sum it up, and we will leave Microsoft Passport alone for a moment. So to sum it up, what we will have user that unlock the device with Windows Hello and PIN, and as a result, the right keys will perform the right operation and user will be authenticated. That's it. Simple and beautiful. So this one is actually, yes, please. VDI. Excuse me? What about VDI? I was expecting there are so many VDI people in the crowd that it's like, where's my VDI question coming? Thank you so much. So the question is, what about VDI? So VDI is, again, capabilities that allow us to host different VMs on the server. And in VDI, for RDP, for example, we have the features that are called smart card redirection. Microsoft Passport is smart card per se, and it will be available for terminal servers or VDI to take advantage of. So it will be supported. OK, so on the client, we have those two containers. And why I'm talking about containers, because on every container, we have protector. For default containers, think about consumers, for Microsoft account, for Fidelity, for Bank of America, name of. Multiple identity providers can put their keys in this container, and it's domain separated. It's critically important that user would not be again tracked between different sites that they're visiting only because the key is in the box, in the default container. On enterprise side, we know that IT loves to play in their own yard. They have their own policy, and sometimes PIN, forgetting about N in the PIN, is becoming a huge string. And again, we understand that we need to provide this capability to enterprises. So enterprise container have policies that can be enforced by SCCM or MDM, our first-party MDM or third-party MDMs. And it's whatever complexity policy of the PIN that you would love to imagine. Yes, please.
Is it a single enterprise container, or can you have multiple for different enterprises simultaneously on the same device?
Very good question. In Windows 10, we will have single. And we understand that people sometimes work in multiple enterprises. So we are not absolutely ignorant of this fact. But for now, we're going with a single. Very good question. OK, so again, talking about policy, any policy is going there. Biometric policy, use Windows Hello or not, is also possible. Again, one additional interesting complexity that we have to deal. We have user PIN, or again, consumer PIN and work PIN. So we'll ask user to provide work PIN when they're accessing work resources, when you're doing whatever you're doing on your personal life, coming to the App Store, trying to buy Angry Birds, 5th time in the row. So you would be able to ask to provide your identity, to prove your identity. You type your PIN, you look at the camera, smile, you're ready to go. Okay, so it's all what I wanted to bring to you about Microsoft Passport. I hope you understand that it's actually foundation that Windows Hello is sitting on top. So now about Windows Hello. Why Windows Hello even important for us? So long time, I think, the vision that we had in the company, that devices need to understand us a little bit better. So by the way, I don't know if you're aware, but baby, approximately a month of old, recognize the mothers after a month. So our devices, I can work on this device for years. Every single morning I'm coming, and it's asking me to type my name. And after that, it's asking me to insert something that I already lost, my smart card, or type something that I already forgot, my stupid password. So again, and only after all of this, it's finally saying, oh, thank you, it's Nelly, wow. Every single time for years and years to come. So what is happening? And when you coming to my place, to my home, actually you're bringing your face, you're bringing your voice, you're bringing something with you, our own memory. And as a result of this, I identify you. I don't need to ask you to show me your passport every single time. So our devices were not as smart as babies. And the goal for us to get them a little smarter. So we want to introduce what we called senses. So it's kind of human senses. They understand us, they hear us, they see us, they finally figure out who we are. And they're helping us to feel much more kind of personal with this device. So it's the goal for Windows Hello. So it's not only funky, winky ring everywhere. It's actually very interesting characters that our designers, we have great designers created for us for every biometric modality. And with Windows Hello, we will introduce support for face, iris a little later when hardware will be more ready, and fingerprints. So let's talk about that. As you can see, Windows Hello is sitting on top of very secure machinery of Microsoft Passport. And for us, it's critically important that our second factor will be as secure as our first factor. So what we do about that? So Windows Hello, first of all, is the system that we're introducing for biometric authentication. And it was a lot of, again, discussion in biometric world about if biometrics is good for authentication or it's only good for identification. Example of identification feature can be when, again, you using your voice and, again, talking to Cortana, and Cortana finally saying, hey, how I can call you? Nelly. Okay, Nelly, what do you want? Identification. But when you're trying to do something that required authentication process, and we need strongly authenticate user, then it was a lot of question about biometrics. So we believe that biometrics today, it's not biometrics 2, 5, 10 years ago. They grow up quite a lot. And by, again, working with our internal team and third-party biometric vendors, we're actually bringing them to the levels that we believe they're meeting enterprise-grade authentication. We believe that biometrics, and I will try to prove you that today, is actually capable to give us access to very high business impact data. And it's, again, you need to understand that biometrics is not these biosamples that we're using for authentication. It's the second factor that we're using to give us access to the keys that we use for authentication. Okay, so every biometrics, a little bit background. I don't know how much you know about biometrics. Most likely people with iPhones already quite familiar with that. But again, Windows Phone people probably a little lacking the information here. So let me bring it to you. Any biometric workflow consists of 3 stages. The first is what we call enrollment. Enrollment is when you introduce yourself to the device. The second one is the usage. It's when you use biometrics to authenticate, or we have another usage that we're introducing, and we had it in Windows 8.1 as well, but we, again, making much more interesting for Windows 10. It's presence monitor. When you don't need to authenticate, and we have a lot of local applications that only want to see that user is actually there. And for those applications, we have very, very simple two APIs. It's two WinRT APIs that will say, okay, if this device is biometric capable, and if it is, can you ask user for consent? It's called user verify consent. And then the whole Windows Hello different gestures will be displayed, and user can pick one that's applicable to this specific operation. And the last one, recovery. So recovery, again, users in control, they can delete their enrollment from the device. By the way, all enrollment information is strictly on the device. We are not sharing this with server. They can always delete it, but also there are plenty of situations when it's too cold and you can't use fingerprint, so you can use PIN, or you cut your finger, God forbid, or again, you after a party night and something happened with your face. Camera doesn't recognize you. Not about yesterday. I'm sure yesterday party was absolutely safe. Okay, so let's go through that. So from enrollment, what is happening? And I will try to do the live demo for you if it will work. Okay, camera will see your face. And I'm talking about face in this particular, I will touch base about fingerprint. It's very similar, but face is more interesting. So it's see your face. What it does, it's actually finding what we call landmarks on your face. We're collecting approximately 60 unique points on your face that helping us to identify you uniquely. Those landmarks that we're finding is also something that we are doing when we're trying to figure out your head location or head orientation. So if you actually love to move around too much, like I do, so camera will say, okay, look at the camera, please. I can't see what you're doing. However, if you're not moving your head too much, I think 15, 20 degrees, okay, we absolutely easily can recognize you. But if you're looking into another side, you're definitely looking sideways, you don't want that camera will start authenticating you. And after that, what we'll do, we will build vectorized representation of those landmark points that we actually found on your face. And this set of vectorized points, why it's vectorized? Because we want to see that if you change a little bit your position around the camera, we still find those points on your face. And this set of points, sometimes you can think about this as a hash. It's one-way hash. It cannot be reversed to your original image. So it's only and only the set of points, we called it template, we store it, and we encrypt, and we protect on the device. As soon as template is created, enrollment completed. So when, again, you have actually glasses, what we will ask you, you can enroll without glasses, and you can repeat the same enrollment process with the glasses. So it means if you will forget to take your glasses off, and you will, again, look at the camera with glasses, we will recognize you, and you will take your glasses off, we still recognize you. So if, again, your appearance changed as time progressed, you lose a lot of weight or something happened, and you gain your weight or something, we always have ability to re-enroll or add additional information to the template to improve recognition. So all of that is part of the product. Let me show you the experience that you will have. And again, okay, sometimes it's happening so quickly you would not even figure out it. Let me try again. So this one, I'm not showing you enrollment yet, but I enrolled. So our wonderful Winky is looking for me and trying to find me. And if it's find it, it's actually looking and unlocking my device. So let's talk about enrollment. And what you see right now, it's not actually kids play. What we've done very strong authentication with my domain controllers that located in Redmond, who knows where. Only by me looking at the camera, what happened, then I authenticate it, and it can be live authentication if I don't have cached credentials on my box, or it's cached authentication, as usual what we do with Kerberos. Okay, so with Windows Hello, as I said, all of those different modality available over there. And what we can do, we can improve recognition by trying to re-enroll user. The first step, we need to identify, strongly verify the user before we will add additional template or modify existing template on the box. So let me enter very secure PIN. And I will look at the camera, and it's asking me to look directly at my screen, and I hope it's actually helping. So what you see is horrifying, actually, frame. No, I'm serious. The beauty of that is actually that any visual light, so because we're using IR cameras for our face and iris recognition, any visual light would not be seen on these things. So as you see, I'm talking, I'm looking, it's actually finished, everything. We have bug on this build, sorry, again, progress bar is not changing, so you don't know how long you would stay or look at the camera, maybe 2 minutes, maybe 5 hours. But it's again, usually it should take very, very short period of time, and the progress bar will indicate when you will do that. Okay, the same happening with fingerprint if you want to add additional fingerprint. So talking about fingerprints, with fingerprint, it's again, enrollment is done absolutely identical. The only points that actually taken from your skin is a special points that we called minutia points. And those minutia points is, again, is different regions and valley of your skin on your finger. It's also unique points, somewhere around 21 to 40 points that, again, algorithm collecting and storing as a template, again, protected on the system. Okay. Are we clear with enrollment? Yes, please.
The other session that you did, somebody asked a question about multiple user authentication, and you mentioned that you're storing that uniquely in user profile and separate TPM areas, so that's fine. But the question I have is, what if you have multiple people wanting to share the same account on the system? Can you do enrollment of multiple people? You can't.
No. Right now, it's actually single anti-user with single enrollment. It's interesting ideas, but no. Good question, Sean.
I've seen the option for PIN versus password. They seem similar. What's the difference between using a PIN and a password? A PIN would seem less secure.
Wonderful question. It's actually a beautiful question. So 2 things about that. Password is network symmetrical secret, and it's a huge problem. PIN is a local. PIN never shared with server. So by hacking your server, all what attacker will get is a set of public keys. Local PIN is continuing to be local. For those people that, again, were working with smart cards, smart card also has a PIN. This PIN is actually absolutely local. It's never stored on the disk. It's never preserved in memory. All what this PIN is used for, it's passed to TPM to unlock TPM to get keys to sign the signature. Password, on another side, is a symmetrical and network secret. You are sending this across. Huge problem. The second, as you said, password, it seems the same because we make it much more complex. PIN can be much simpler because it has hardware. Why password? We're trying to make it a little more complex. It's protection against offline attack. If somebody will get your device, they're trying to hack into your system by trying to guess your password. If they didn't hack your server before that, much easier actually. But with PIN, it's much more difficult. Even simpler PINs, because they hardware protected, we have anti-brute force protection for the PINs, the system will lock themselves in. So you would not be able to continue your attack. So pins are much more secure, surprisingly enough, compared to passwords, and can be much simpler. Actually, during provisioning, on previous session I showed it, we have specific session, specific place, specific link saying that simple short pins is secure enough. Don't go with crazy long pins. It doesn't make sense.
What you're saying is absolutely true, but there's also a challenge that the vast majority of people with 4-digit PIN choose the same approximate number of pins. So things like 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 0, 0, 0, those, even though the brute force TPM is going to protect that, if they pick a very obvious pin, there's still a high potential probability that could be brute forced.
Very good question. We have the list of well-known pins that we're preventing user to type. Okay. Simple. Okay, let's move to the slides and continue with the usage. Okay, let me switch to something else and to PowerPoint. Interesting. Doesn't want to switch to PowerPoint anymore. Okay. I think these are. Okay, let's talk about the next. Usage. As I said, usage, we have two different usage scenarios that we are using. Yes, please, before I will continue. Excuse me, can you repeat it again? Hardware requirements, very good question. So in WinHack conference, I think 2 months ago, we shared the physical spec for hardware requirements for Windows Hello, for face recognition cameras. It's quite not super complex, but it's actually specs that has very specific requirements about the waves that needs to be supported, the IR capability, etc. I will mention the security requirements that also have to be supported, but hardware spec is published on WinHack. If you need any information, please send me email and I will point you to WinHack. Okay, when we need to use whatever template we created, what will happen? It's actually happening the same thing. We will find your face. We'll find the same landmark or similar landmark or unique points on your face. We will create, again, detect your head orientation as well. And we will create a vectorized representation of those points. And finally, we need to make a very interesting decision if this set of points is actually matching template. And as you can imagine, it's not true in false case because, again, the match can be not exact. So there is a histogram-based mechanism that actually defining the level of confidence when we will say that its match is completed or not. So it's not as simple as PIN. You type your PIN, 1, 2, 3, 4, not this PIN, but there is no actually confusion that it's exactly PIN that you wanted to buy.
Can you control the level of confidence?
So you can control, no, it's part of the algorithm itself. And again, we control, I will point it on different aspects. We control different aspects that's very important for security of this algorithm. Very, very good question. So from recovery perspective, what will happen? We find your face. We figure out that you didn't match the template. And then, after 5 times, we fall back to PIN or something else that you need to type to be able to prove to us that you're the same user. And by doing so, we actually want to ensure that we have ability to let the legit user in and the attacker would be slowed down. When you will have 32 attempts, by the way, 32 is a very magic number that it's standardized on TPMs. Before TPM will lock down themselves. Okay, so one additional topic, authentication versus identification. So authentication, when we're talking about authentication, those particular areas are critically important for us. And it's not only us. The whole biometric community is actually agreed that because of this not reproducible entropy, we need to establish some characteristics that we can figure out that this biometric is actually meeting authentication requirements or not. We're talking about false acceptance rate, and false acceptance rate is your uniqueness. And how many unique people need to go and look at the camera before we will say, okay, you look like somebody that we've seen before. It's what false acceptance rate is all about. False rejection rate is convenience, and they're coming in pair. The problem is, if your convenience, or how many it's your false positive, how many times we told the legit user that you doesn't look like yourself.
What about identical twins?
They look identical. It's an interesting problem with identical twins. We have huge testing metrics I will share with you when we're going with every, again, twin and triple that we can find in Microsoft anywhere, trying to figure out what unique information we can gather. But I can say that it's not a very simple problem to solve. So, okay, and the last point, liveness and anti-spoofing detection. Liveness means that we figure out that you're live. It's not picture. It's not video. It's not something that you, again, trying to fool the system with. It's actually live. The fingerprints was the scariest story, again, 10 years ago when people cut, don't trust those sci-fi movies, by the way, cut the fingers and using those dead fingers, trying to authenticate to some very secure facility. When you will see those movies, laugh at them. No reality. So the sensors that today produced for fingerprints have ability to detect actually cut fingers. So be safe, don't worry. The same with face and the same with eyes. Your eyes are safe. We have the liveness detection that ensures that it needs to be alive before attacker will use it.
You can't clone fingerprints, though, from photographs.
Starbuck. You're talking about Starbuck attack.
Well, yeah, there was research published about a year ago.
Absolutely. Absolutely, it's what I'm talking about. Starbuck was who published this wonderful thing. We'll talk about that. I have a slide on that. Okay, so what we ask Windows Hello guys, and it's again, we have multiple teams that working on algorithm on Windows Hello to provide to us this particular proven information. Their algorithm, and its inbox algorithm, need to support 1 to 100,000 false acceptance rate. And it's a well-known number for enterprise security grade. False rejection should be not higher than 4%. And the reason why, because if you make false rejection rate very, very high, imagine we have 100% false rejection rate. How secure the system would be. Nobody would be able ever to get to the system. Beautiful. It will be absolutely unusable. So, and those two numbers, as I said, related. You can increase false rejection rate. It means my convenience is disappearing, but security is increasing. So we need to have very interesting balance between those. So we're coming and combining them together. Liveness detection and anti-spoofing measurement is requirement. So false acceptance rate. Let's talk about that. And it's interesting, a very interesting topic. How many of you love statistics? Some of you. Good. So you will be home here. So when we're talking about 1 to 100,000 claim, we're talking about statistical model. And to be able to prove this statistical model, we need to have the sample, because we cannot test on every single individual in the world. So we need to have specific sample of unique users that we can validate our claim. How many, you think, unique faces do we need to claim 1 to 100,000? Any number? Any number? Any idea? I have the answer here on the slide. I know that you're reading, so please don't. How many? So approximately, to prove a 100,000 false acceptance rate, you need from 2,000 to 3,000 unique faces. So how we getting those faces to our actually sample gathering? Usually it's all us Microsoft Tees that are trying to participate and self-host our technology. But also what we do, we're going to the big events, like Seahawk events, many people, putting the small tent over there, and for the small gratitude, people can give you everything. So we're asking them to do, we only need six images, and those images that's fully anonymized. And we're using this collection. Today we have approximately 13,000 unique faces that we're testing our algorithm with. Our goal is 30K faces. But to prove 100K false acceptance rate with confidence level of somewhere 97.5%, we need approximately 4 million matches between me and not me going through this algorithm. We also need unique faces to train the algorithm. And after that, with different faces, we're measuring the result. Approximately 42, 45 faces will fail, and then we know that we're actually meeting the claim. This mechanism is well known for biometric society, for people that done fingerprint, face, and iris. It's a way how you prove that you're actually meeting 1 to 100,000 false acceptance rate. Any questions so far? False rejection rate. As we said, it's very simple. We have a lot of self-hosting scenarios, and we're running those self-host scenarios, and we're recording if the legit user cannot get into the desktop. As a result of that, we have very clear rejection rate that we're collecting from us. Okay, the next topic, liveness detection and anti-spoofing. As I said, the bad news, your front-facing camera, VGA camera, would not be supported for Windows Hello. The good news, it's providing for us actually very good capability. First of all, in the bad lighting conditions, as you've seen, camera actually can recognize me. It can recognize me absolutely without any light, whatsoever. We can ask to turn off this all lighting. Can we do it? I didn't ask it before, so we'll see. No. Okay. No. So with full dark, camera would be able to recognize me because it doesn't need visual light. Additional things that we're getting from IR sensor instead of using VGA is ability for us to protect against basic picture attack. So if I have the picture, the color picture of somebody that actually enrolled on this device here, and I will show my camera, let me do live demo for you of the same thing. And we're talking about number 7. So the whole idea is, again, when you will show video or you will show a picture, the picture or video are emitting visual light. And because IR doesn't record this light, the camera sees nothing. So the same as you will see on the diagram that I show. Let me show you a demo before, and after that we'll continue. Okay, so this, you see that it's color. I'm not lying. So what you see on the screen? Nothing, huh? Beautiful. So if you would be able to, I don't want to look in the camera. Okay. So if you will try to do the same with different option, for example, trying to do the video or trying to show some other very genius idea how we will spoof the camera. Being IR camera, it's provide us some additional level of protection. However, if you're talking about 3D masks, very complicated masks camera would still be spoofed. There is no way for us right now to detect that. And there is some other interesting capabilities that we're still working on to improve our anti-spoofing algorithm to be able to protect against those attacks. Yes, Sean?
Are the landmarks for the facial recognition stored in a secure enclave, or are they stored elsewhere?
So they encrypted right now with TPM-based keys. So they cannot be actually taken away from the device. They're tied to the device. Okay? In addition to that, I will switch to my demo again. We already on demo, sorry. So you will see those two additional options. So the options that I'm talking about is this one. For extra security, we're adding capability that can be turned on for enterprises, and it will ask user to say no to the device. So something like that. Not too much. Don't do too much. A little bit. And as soon as you move your head right and left, and actually Vinky will ask you to do that. As soon as you will do that, we will know that you're alive. It's not picture. And this technique will allow us to protect or provide additional protection against anti-spoofing with this liveness detection. For enterprises, we're shipping this feature with anti-spoofing on. And it means you have opportunity to disable it if you will decide that users will be annoyed by this feature. It's definitely taking away a little bit the magic experience that Windows Hello provides, but it provides a little more protection and security. So you as IT needs to decide what to do. We highly recommend it to use it, but we are coming from security side. If, again, you're brave enough and think that it's okay for your users, do not use liveness, additional liveness detection, you're more than welcome to disable it. Yes, please.
What I understand is that you feel that face recognition is more secure than fingerprint?
No, I didn't say that.
No,
This
the gentleman in the front here said that.
fingerprint been in the wild for quite a bit. And there is very special gentleman in Germany called Starbug, CCC lab, that has incredible experience of hacking fingerprint and face and iris. I can tell you again, and it's me, it's not Microsoft talking, if my technology and it will take him some time to hack it. He will hack it, no question about that. But it will take some time and some imagination from Starbucks to do that. I think we will meet our shipping criteria. So there, again, biometrics or any security with a lot of efforts can be hacked. And again, Starbucks is one of those people that can prove that it's true. However, it needs to be his talent and his determination and his ability to do what he's doing. I don't think normal people like you and me would be able to easily reproduce his attack of taking the picture or anything like some owns the image and create the spoof. I think it's a little more complicated than that.
Yeah, I think for people that are not familiar with what he did, he actually has like a crime lab where he's able to kind of reproduce high-resolution photos. So it's not like an amateur type thing that you can do. But I was curious if you guys are thinking about also, I think you mentioned this in the last talk, having other things like proximity of a mobile phone or something like that, which even if you were able to spoof the landmarks or fingerprint, if you use that second factor of proximity of the device, then even if somebody did somehow get past these measures, they would also have to have your mobile phone or something like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's together with Passport to Go, ability for us to utilize capability of the phone, for example, and proximity to the device, together with the fingerprint or together with the camera, that will help us to secure this connection. Thank you so much, Sean. I need to take you as my co-presenter next time. Okay. So let's go back to where we've been with slides. Here our goal. So biometrics for us can be used as the second factor only and only, and because it's tied to Microsoft Passport that's very secure, has to be enabled only and only if we know that user submitted the biometric sample that we validate and match the template, and it's considered to be live. And our goal for biometrics to make it non-susceptible to multiple set of attacks: spoofing, replay attack, attack by privileged code or admin, and offline attacks. All of that is our goal. Not everything is done yet, but we're definitely working toward doing that. And the last requirement for us, any biometric capability for Windows Hello has to be integrated with biometric framework. Windows Biometric Framework is actually the system that we have in the box for quite some time that was designed from day one to accommodate multiple modalities. Fingerprint, actually Cortana voice, including face, including iris, everything integrated with Windows Biometric Framework. And Windows Biometric Framework allows us to abstract from specificity of this modality and make common interfaces to communicate with those different sensors. So we have sensors, we have MIPI drivers or SPI drivers for fingerprints. We have the 3 different types of adapters. Those adapters, sensor adapter is communicating with the sensor. The engine adapter, it's our matcher. It's where the whole this intelligence happening to communicate and generate the template and keep the template to compare them when authentication will happen. And the third is our storage adapter. Storage adapter is used to store those templates securely and offer them to engine adapter when authentication is happening. On top of that, we have Windows Biometric Service that communicating with all those adapters, set of APIs, WinBio APIs, and on top we put the enrollment that you've seen. We have what we call CRAD UI with CRAD providers, and credential providers is a way how user actually authenticating to the device or using those devices. And we have set of APIs that allow somebody to use Windows Hello. The set of APIs, as I said, for user presence, we called it user consent verifier, and Microsoft Passport APIs. So Windows Hello cannot be used outside of those 2 sets of APIs, or you in authentication flow, or you on user presence flow. In both cases, you have WinRT APIs to do those 2 things. So to sum it up, yes, please.
Very quickly, and I don't know whether you'll be able to answer this or not, but Surface 4, is that going to be fitted with these cameras in place?
I cannot comment on hardware on hardware of first or third-party OEMs. The only thing that I can say, devices with our cameras, IR-based face and iris, will come to the market soon. It's all what I can say.
Will Surface 4 support Hello?
I cannot answer that as well. Great try. Yes, please.
A question on Passport and what level of Azure or IDP is going to support that capability, and also with Hello, is it going to be a platform feature or will it be SKU tied?
We believe that it's platform feature. Every security feature is actually features that everybody needs to use. We are not SKUifying any security-related functionality. So we believe that, again, Windows Hello and Microsoft Passport from Azure Active Directory will be available for every single subscription, from basic to whatever standard, whatever enterprise, whatever subscription models they have, and the same for SKUs on Windows device as well. Okay, so from Windows Hello, to sum it up, it's inbox capability. So again, we're paying enough attention to that. It works across multiple devices, Windows 10 devices, on mobile, by the way, and on desktop, the same code. We integrated anti-spoofing capability into our face and iris, and because it's IR, it's actually helping us with different lighting condition. And if your appearance, your face is changing, it's also helping us quite a bit. Talking about fingerprints, 2 slides on fingerprints. First one, they're becoming much more attractive. First of all, it's not swipe science sensors anymore. When you will have time, if you will stop by my place, I have fingerprint sensor, and it's actually a story with this sensor. It's incredibly small sensor. You can't see it. And this sensor is a touch sensor produced by Fingerprint Cards company. And those sensors are coming to the devices near you very soon, very fast. The size of those sensors are decreasing enormously. It means that very soon we will not see those sensors. They will be so small that they will integrate under some other things on your devices. So we believe that with those sensors, from security perspective, we have interesting challenge because now we need to ensure that they meet our false acceptance rate and false rejection rate and numbers. But from usability is actually beautiful. I will show you in a moment. We have different technology that today coming with fingerprints. This one is CMOS-based, or what we called capacitive technology. Next biometrics company producing new type of technology called thermal technology. When they detecting the different temperature on your skin and trying to figure out and build the map of your points based on thermal differences on your skin. And there is new type of fingerprint sensors coming. It's called ultrasound. So exactly as your ultrasound machine. So it's coming beyond your skin. And then Starbuck problem will be solved once and forever because sensor would be able to see beyond your epiderm and would be able to pick up the points beyond your skin. Okay? So as fingerprints becoming smaller and smaller, the sizes is approximately from 2 millimeters to 8 millimeters, or 4 to 8. Or 6 by 6. They cannot see the areas of your finger very clearly. There is additional work that we've done to improve the enrollment of fingerprint to make sure that during enrollment we will spend a little longer with the user and with the device, but later on you will be able to touch and it will work beautifully. So we have some improvements done on our enrollment functionality. So quick demo on that. We still have time. Okay, let me switch to fingerprint. Okay. Okay, so let me go in. As you can see, easy touch. The enrollment also look very, very similar as you've seen with the face. And I'm sorry for long delays. The build is not the final build. It's very similar with Peter's keynote. It's like, oh, it's crashed. Okay, so you can add another finger. And again, you would be able to use or fingerprint or pin or face. I had face on that. To authenticate yourself. We don't have yet animation included, but it will be beautiful animation showing users what to do if they need to touch sensor or swipe and how they will swipe. So all of that will be done. Because I'm very familiar with sensors, I can navigate this wonderful complexity without animations, and I'm done. So now, if I will, again, lock my machine, I will touch, and then will unlock momentarily. I will try to go to, again, up. Let me show you up. And this app is, sorry for that, app is helping us to provide some clarity about Microsoft Passport. So this app is actually fully built on Microsoft Passport APIs. And think about that it's access to some enterprise app. So now, and it's demo app, so don't worry about that. It's asking me to authenticate myself before I will be able to use this app, because this app is incredibly protected. So all what I need to do, touch my sensor, and I'm authenticated. No need to type long passwords, long pins, remember, smart cards, everything is actually there. So very similar to what we had with face. So to summarize, the fingerprints face will be available as soon as we will ship Win 10. the Iris is also coming. Iris is also technology that build own IR-based capability. It's also very similar enrollment experiences that you will see in Windows Hello Place. And Iris, again, hardware spec will be delivered to our hardware partners probably in upcoming months. So to summarize what we talked today. So the most important goal for me is that you will understand what Microsoft Passport does and what Windows Hello does and how they both connected or part of the same coin. So Windows Hello, it's all about biometric authentication, and it's about face, iris, and fingerprint. It's providing incredibly convenient unlock, but unlock its authentication gesture. It's not only unlocking your device. It's also giving ability for everybody to access protected resources and protected services and protected data. And by the end of the day, it's incredibly easy and understandable experiences, starting from enrollment, finishing usage, and finishing with recovery. And to leave you with beautiful WinKey that our designers created. Unfortunately, whatever you will do, you would not have ability to see all its stages. This WinKey helping us to communicate to the user different stages. I want to give you the preview of all stages that WinKey will go through. And let me play this little video for you that we animated. Thank you so much.